Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the March 9, 2022 Effingham Board of Selectmen meeting. As we get started, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And as we get started this morning, I'd like to basically turn it over to our town clerk, Deanna. You are on.
Okay, so I thought I would start with the results from last night. So we had Charles Chuck Fuller with 182. Bill Pycott was a write-in at 83. For selection 1-year term, the winner was Victoria Kirkwood with 108. Leo Racine got 105. Matt Sawyer Jr. got 89. Victoria Kirkwood was the winner. And trustee of trust funds, Carol Pfister, 252. Library trustee, 2 3-year terms, Grace Fuller, 236. Sue Regal, 1 on a write-in with 62. Budget committee, 2 3-year terms. Rosemary Weisenbach, 152, the winner, and Stephen Regal, 124, the winner. And the other 2 on the ballot, Michael Callahan, 113, John Davis, 96. For planning board, 2 3-year terms, Grace Fuller, 189, and David Garceau, 147. ZBA, there was a lot of write-ins, but the top 2 were Lawrence Edwards with 71 and Alan Taylor with 51. Moderator 2-year term, James Pittman, 250. Supervisor of the checklist, Carol Pfister, 256. And then the zoning warrant articles 2 through 9 all passed. And I want to, first of all, say there was a record amount of write-ins. I have never seen so many write-ins. Our 3-page tally sheets that the counters use, when Barbara plugged it into the Excel for the summation of it, I think it turned into 7 pages. 7 pages because of write-ins. And I have all the write-ins if anyone's interested. And I do want to say congratulations to the winners. And there has been a recount requested. Okay. So that will happen between 5 and 10 days, and I'm not going to count weekends. We'll send out emails to everybody. And that will involve the moderator, myself, and it does say 3 selectmen. So I don't know if we can do that with 2.
We'll have to.
Yeah, right. You can't be Vicky.
Oh, come on.
And I will have to advertise that. It will take place here and it will be public.
Okay.
And I do want to thank everybody for making yesterday possible. There were so many people that helped out, too many to name, but I had such good reports from everybody. I didn't have one negative feedback. And I asked everybody who was working, and I got the same response.
And I thank you for coordinating a lot of that.
Well,
activity.
I will tell you.
I know it was a team.
Clapping for Barbara. She's the real motivator. Yeah.
No, it was a smooth day, for the first time in a long time in this building. So.
Yes, and I do want to point out the rug that was in front of the door outside was donated from David just for the day. And even with that rug out there, he swept up this morning like this much dirt.
Wow.
So he's now taking the rug home, but I think we should purchase one for outside.
I was going to say, could you find out where he purchased that? Because that was the right size for that entry level.
Yes,
And we'll
yes,
pick one up.
okay. Yeah, he got it from Ford Motor Company. It was over $200. I don't think we'll be getting.
I'm sure we can come up with another model.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you
get
very much.
anything?
We have one. How the flow went in here during the day for COVID?
It went great.
Nobody
Yeah,
complained
there was
or
no
anything?
bottleneck. There wasn't people waiting. Susan's goal was to not have anybody waiting outside more than 15 minutes, and I don't think that happened.
The very
Never.
first two to three, there was a little understanding around where to go, but after that, when people started to park, other people just came right in and did their thing in a traffic pattern. We only had a couple people that went the wrong way, but they weren't paying attention. And then nobody got hit, so we're all set. But yeah, so that went smoother. And a lot of it, I was thinking we were gonna be out on the road quite a bit with, volumes of people. Because of the way the groups came in during the different time periods, it was like we were full a couple of times with a couple of people right out front. But other than that, we didn't have to use School Street at all.
And I will say, as the town clerk, this is the first election. It's 100 times easier to have it in this building because I have access to my office, my computer, everything I need. Don't have to pack everything.
Yeah.
If I hadn't had to pack my ballots, they would never have been stolen.
So had we, when we get to the next two elections, which will probably be a larger turnout,
Yeah, Susan, historically, it's not a presidential primary.
okay,
So it'll be maybe 100 more than we saw at this one.
okay,
Yeah,
all right,
brings out really.
still
low
manageable,
numbers.
okay,
Yeah,
all right,
that's September and then we have November.
okay, good.
With the polling hours are extended those.
Yes, that would be 8 to
Saturday.
7, those two elections, 8
Okay.
AM to 7.
And nobody had to wait more than 5 minutes, I don't think, yesterday. Nobody was outside. I think I
You
might
kept
have.
everybody entertained, Lynn, I think.
There was but maybe 4 people at the most at one time waiting. And then once the booths opened up, they came in went pretty well.
Okay, and we actually have another, the 4 booths, the things we took apart.
Yeah.
Upside down. We
And
actually
we
have
put back
another one of
together
those.
upside down.
Yeah, exactly. We have another one of those. We just didn't set it up because of the COVID. We didn't want
Yep.
people so close.
Okay. Good, but we had room for it if we needed it, right?
We do, because we don't have to do the sit down one with the screens.
Okay,
It's one booth for every 125 people on the checklist.
okay. Good,
So that would be 1,200. That would take care of 1,200 people, those 3 booths.
super. If anybody's got any questions in the audience, you want to take a question?
Sure.
Anybody from the public have a question for Deanna?
Yes, so that number is 316, but we had 4 spoiled ballots, meaning somebody voted and they ruined their ballot, put it that way. So they went to the moderator and asked if they could have another one. I would have preferred to take those 4 and put them in my box, but the moderator insisted on putting them inside the ballot box. So now my question is to her, the 316, does that include those 4? Uncapped spoiled ballots, so it's either 316 or 312. And that includes absentees, which that was 11.
So basically, it's only 25% of the registered voters.
And that's typically what we see.
We could give Lenny a people counter at the door next year.
No,
No, it's easier to wait to tally it up and then just do it off a spreadsheet.
Have you noticed that I don't think, did you say the write-ins for planning board? Were there? There must have been.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of write-ins. I can give anybody a copy
Oh,
that wants
there
one.
were, oh, okay.
A
all right.
whole bunch of write-ins. Yeah, I gave you the top 2 though.
Yeah,
didn't
that's
I?
fine, that's fine,
Yep, those are the winners.
all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So lots of people think that because you have a lot of write-ins, if those top 2 people don't want it, I go to the next one. That's not what the RSA says. It's the top 2 that won or won. That's it.
I'm just curious what the numbers were for all of them.
And I have them. I can give you a copy. Just come and ask. Okay,
Yeah, the 316 didn't include the voids.
did not.
So me and Susan counted them up.
So
Did not.
316. There you go. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Because Steve's question was kind of soft spoken, the 316 that everyone's discussing is the total number of voters for the Zoom meeting.
Including absentee ballots.
Good. Any other questions? Deanna, thank you very much.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
All right,
Thank you, Deanna.
folks, we'll dive into the agenda in the signature folder. Make a motion to approve the selectmen's minutes of March 1, 2022.
1 second.
All those in favor, Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the selectmen's minutes, March 3.
1 second.
All those in favor, Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the first set of selectmen's minutes, March 7.
Second.
All those in favor, Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the second set of March 7 minutes.
1 second.
All those in favor, Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Selectmen's non-public minutes, make a motion to approve those minutes from March 1, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor, Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the first set of non-public minutes on March 3rd, 2022.
1 second.
All those in favor, Fuller, aye.
Aye.
A motion to approve the second set of non-public minutes on March 3rd, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor, Fuller, aye.
Aye.
And in the signature folder, we also had some personal action forms. So one of the things that we started doing last year when we have new hires coming in, basically appointed by the selectmen, we now are actually using a document for that, for the personnel file. So we did that this morning. And there was also refund abatement for an overpayment in property taxes. The manifest, make a motion to approve the manifest dated March 10, 2022 in the amount of $66,094.09.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Fuller, aye.
Aye.
The mail folder, charter franchise fee payment. So for those that may not be familiar, if you go way back to the Adelphia days, when cable was installed in town, there was a franchise fee set up of 3%, and that money comes back to the town for the cable provider. That was assumed by Time Warner, now assumed by Spectrum. Last year, we did not get a payment because they had done a recalculation through an audit and determined that they had overpaid us. So the check that just came in was basically for the coming year or for the current time period. And it was in the amount of $6,795. So that's one of those revenue components that can be variable depending upon the amount of cable that's used in town. Did you have a question or you just trying to warm up? Okay, good. And there was another letter in the mailbag appointing Fire Chief JT Harmon as the fire warden for the town of Effingham. And we're now down to administrator comments. Congratulations, JT.
I've been working on 91A requests. I still have one outstanding, and I anticipate that should be done next Friday afternoon. Almost complete with that. And that's from Mr. Cahalan. He has several outstanding that he needs to come into the office to look at the documents. So we're trying to schedule that.
And there's been some delays due to his calendar, I believe.
Correct, yes. And Mr. Bartowitz came in to review the files, and then his second request was, the response came from town council. Let's see, I did, last Friday, I had a little panic attack, and I reached out to the school and made sure we were all set for Saturday. Because I had never actually spoken to anyone, it was all email. So we are good. And I have a call into Lenhart to schedule Brandon up here to go over our whole cybersecurity. So I expect I'll hear from Will today.
If your schedule permits, would you join that meeting? I just want to get an opinion.
And Lenny, I reached out to Clean Harbors to see if they have access to oil barrels, and
or can provide a different vendor that might have access to. I've not heard back from John yet on that one.
So are we still, we had a delay of 6 months because of supply. Have we received any update on that?
Lenny spoke to them, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah,
And they said it was gonna be 35 weeks. So
Yeah,
Lenny
30.
asked me to
30 to 35 weeks.
research, so
Okay.
he asked me to reach out to them, maybe Clean Harbors has different vendors, I don't know. Something has changed with our credit card bills where our treasurer is only getting electronic copies, we're not getting a paper copy anymore. That makes me feel vulnerable. And I would like to request that we start getting paper copies again.
Is there a way we can be added on to the distribution so that you get the electronic copy?
Yeah, or if we could get the
Rather
electronic
than
one from the
killing
town.
trees? If we can eliminate
Yeah.
paper, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay. Okay, the other thing we researched is we talked to the Bank of New Hampshire on doing direct deposit for employees. And basically, the town already has this ability. The town clerk uses it to transfer money to the state. The town is already approved for 250,000 a day, up to 750,000 a month. I don't know where we are in relation to hitting that threshold. What we may need is a request to increase it approximately 100,000. That would cover payroll for a month for quite some time.
Do we know what the biggest check is that Deanna plays with on that system? Okay.
I was gonna say, maybe Leo knows, he might have the most cars that get registered. So I will find out.
Okay,
Yeah, the bank said they can look and see where we are on the threshold as
it's
well.
easier to just have them run us a report done.
Yeah, so basically what the bank would do is they would assign a fob to Darlene and myself, and there would be segregation of duties. So if I was to run payroll, Darlene could approve it. If she ran payroll, I would approve it. So there wouldn't be any one person who entered the payroll and hit the button to do the transfer.
Check and balance in place.
In the event that one of us was unavailable, Deanna or Barbara can do that check and balance.
Okay.
Because the 4 fobs would be good for everyone. So we would need Elaine to give the bank authority to issue us the fobs. So for next week, I'll have a letter drafted from you to Elaine requesting that happen.
I want to hold that another week, because once we have the new person sitting in that chair, I want to have a discussion around the whole payroll process,
Okay.
which would include the direct deposit, and determine how we can move forward with that.
Okay. And just so you know, not everyone, can't force everyone to do it. So if we have one employee.
Actually, you can. We checked into that a year and a half ago. So if the
Okay.
town decides that it's going to go to direct deposit for everything due to reduction of cost, that can be done. Then that's part of what the discussion needs to be.
Okay. All right, but if we had one employee, we could, or a couple employees, we could.
And we'll get into that discussion.
Yeah, because we're doing it in-house, it's not a huge deal. And you saw that Chief Duchesne can't make it in today. I am out starting at noon time today, and I'll be back in the morning. Okay, that's it.
All right. Right.
Are you making out with the treasurer for the town report? You getting anywhere with the,
I have not gotten anywhere, so I don't know what makes up her expenses, that 214,000.
Yeah.
Last week when I talked to her about meeting and giving her information that might help things. I said, you know, I'm still concerned about that number. Does it include the amount to the DMV? And the response was that, among other things. So we cannot tie up with her. I
So-
cannot tie up.
I had asked her if she'd be willing to attend a meeting here with the selectmen and the town people on tape to review the process that the treasurer uses, subject to
Yes.
security stuff. She's agreed to do that, but I asked her to hold off being able to schedule any of that till the new board is sitting. But she'll come in and explain the entire process.
Why I asked at town meeting, we vote on accepting the reports of everybody. I mean, if there is a discrepancy, we don't know the answer to the question, do we accept it?
The treasurer's report's the one we accept. We have no information that would preclude us from
Yeah.
saying there's an issue.
I was just wondering if, you know, not knowing what that $214,000 is.
It,
So,
it's, our books have been provided to her.
No, that's not how it works. In
No,
all
no,
due-
it's-
In
listen.
all due respect, she is supposed to provide the town, the bookkeeper, whoever is in charge of finances for the town, her reconciliation. And Deanna provides information to the treasurer in the town. And the way NHMA said, it's a three-pronged triangle. So when she provides those things, we say, oh, it matches, and, or it doesn't, and we sit down and say, what's the discrepancies? But
Will let NHMA be willing to do a call?
I did not reach back out to Ms. Beck.
Okay. I'm thinking based on that information, that we try and set up a call with the person at NHMA and the selectman, treasurer, staff here. And it doesn't have to be more than half an hour, but everybody's on the same page, hearing the same information. And that way we can resolve this hopefully once and for all.
Right, because it's great knowing her process, and we did that before, but that's not what the issue is. The issue is she's not providing us numbers. She's not giving us the meat of the content that we can reconcile.
I'm not sure she's required to give you the details. She's required to give you the totals in the report. I don't disagree. It would be a great idea to get that additional information, but I don't think it's a requirement. But we went, that's part of the discussion we need to have with NHMA
Right.
online with us. So we can work through the whole thing, figure out what we're gonna do, and everybody's hearing it. So it's not, I did this, you did that, somebody else did this,
Right.
everything is one session.
Mhm.
So that is a high priority item. So as soon as we get the new select person seated, we need to schedule that, hopefully.
Okay.
All right. Lenny, you good with that?
I also want to congratulate all the winners from yesterday and thank people that helped out. It was a long day for everybody, but we get through it. First thing, road postings. You want to make it effective when?
ASAP.
Yeah. Tomorrow or Friday?
If he can get out there tomorrow, do it tomorrow.
Okay.
If
I-
not, try
I
to
know
get it done
Kevin
for-
has-
before the weekend. I mean, we
Yeah.
try to do it before the weekend.
And then we just get the ad in the paper. Won't give anybody much notice, but
We'll get on the website immediately, and that's
Yeah.
where I think a lot of people go.
okay.
Yeah, a lot of the vendors from years past check the website to figure out what they can do.
And looks like the days might be fairly warm enough to do some coal patching. So we'll get them out there. Just about every road in town could do some coal patching.
Hope he has a big truck.
Right. Nothing on the silo?
No.
No.
I think my last correspondence with him was a commitment for the end of March. Because we had December and then it was kind of iced in, but
Yeah. Okay, so now
so if,
I'll revisit again in April.
yeah, if the girl doesn't do it, then I'll pull the thing where it's abandoned material and sell it.
Okay. All right. everything else can wait till after the new board sits.
Yeah, and my entire list can wait till after the new board.
Yeah.
So,
No, actually, on the silo, sorry, if they're gonna drive heavy equipment over to lay this thing down onto, do you want it to?
they cannot drive heavy equipment over that. You've got gas lines out there and you've got septic lines out there.
So-
They do not drive over.
We're gonna need to have guidance on that. 'Cause I don't think
Randy,
he's hiring a crane.
Randy has, in his mind, because I know we went over it before, where the actual gas line is buried, because it's not exactly a straight shot from the tank over to the generator or to the building. So he's probably got a good, but we'll need to get hold of Dig Safe anyway. I'll just have them come out and make sure that that is very well set up. So, Mr. Garza.
I think the gas lines are buried with a wire that lets them know on a certain device where that line
Yep.
is.
Yeah, when you're doing anything that involves digging anyway, Dig Safe's the first call you make, so we'll get Dig Safe in here and we'll mark it up and tell people where they can't go.
Bravo.
And Randy has a good idea, Randy, Bill Pike, I forget who I talked to, has an idea where the line runs for the pipe for the septic system. I do not believe there's anything on paper for that when we searched it 2 years ago. We were trying to find something. So, but I think one of the two gentlemen know generally where that pipe is coming out from the building and where it goes out along the driveway. So. Anything else, Lenny?
Mm.
Okay, yeah, and my list is basically for next week, so congratulations again to all the winners. The nice thing is there's plenty to do, so nobody should be bored. And we'll start the whole new year next week with the new board. So, public comment, Vicky.
The stop sign at the end of Green Mountain Road is going like this, and somebody might steal it pretty soon if the town doesn't do something with it. I know it's frozen and you can't get it in there, but you guys probably seen it. It's kind of,
There's a few of them like that.
oh, it's wiped out.
Yeah.
Probably got frost seeds under it.
Signs are on the list for around town. Mr. Strauss.
Can I get an update on the Governor Wentworth ADM policy? Where we are, because letters should have been sent out and asked back for the end of this week. Next week was supposed to be the calls to the ones who are not in. And then we have to have it to them by the third week of March.
Yep.
Which is 15,000 plus per student. So, yeah, you have an update?
That's a
Yes.
selectman's office item, so I hope Audrey has an answer to that one.
It's complete. Deanna reviewed the list. There were no changes. And a letter went back to the school saying there were no changes. That was
Deanna is
approximately
the only one who reviewed the letter.
the list of
The
students.
ADM list.
No, there's supposed to be multiple people
We
reviewing.
have listed at least 6 people that are supposed to review that list.
Okay, so
Deanna didn't see any changes.
is there someone else that you want to review it?
It's
Because,
in the policy,
okay,
but I mean, I feel pretty confident with you, that Deanna probably would know more than most. I mean, we did have, I think, 6 people, because it's critical to the town to make sure that, as you can see, that's 15,000 per student.
oh, yeah,
So we found 3 last year. Which is, anything we can help to reduce the school cost, which is going up $1.30 this year, it would have been more if we didn't find the ones 2 years ago. Which we found almost 5 2 years ago. So.
no, I can
It's
still have some,
important.
I can have someone else review it.
Yeah, because I mean, it has to be back to them by the week of March 3rd.
Right.
And we have that second week where we make phone calls, so ones don't come in, where there's not many, it may be easy to do. So I just want to get that on the radar, where we're great at the crunch time. And we know we got town meeting. We know we have a lot of stuff going on, but it's pretty important to the town money wise.
So one of the schools is a hot topic with the budget.
Yeah.
You just pull that policy and figure out
Sure.
The people on there.
if you think you need to.
Yeah, I apologize. Last year I just gave the USB to her.
And, yeah, I mean, I.
Not throwing her under the
you
bus, but
obviously,
yeah.
between you and her, you can figure that out, I mean, if you think you need to.
Yeah, in the past year, the end of
I mean,
August
it's
was the one
pretty,
that gave us the
pretty
heads up.
surprising that we haven't seen where we had so many people out of town and new homes coming in. I expected more because I know we had a changeover of houses. So I was surprised that we wouldn't have saw some movement on the list. So, but if she thinks that nothing.
You're hoping for downward movement. What I'm hoping
Yeah.
for is the movement wasn't up.
Well, that wouldn't have been added onto that list anyway. It would have been off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely it would have been off, not on. Next year's would be different.
Mr. Garcon,
So we can assume that there were no children that were on the list that shouldn't have been on the list.
under the current review, yes, I'm gonna add an additional layer to that to just get another person to look at it, but yep. Good. Which is good. I mean, it eased the process working the way it should have done. So, which is the important part. Anybody else? Mr. Edwards?
Does the town have a figure on the oversight of the Bailey Road culvert yet?
Well, there's actually two components. There was the original emergency contract we did, and then the price figure that's gonna be part of the program. Yes, we do. It's a maximum of $50,000. So I'm making a motion at Saturday's meeting to add 35,000 to the Bailey Road program with the balance coming from the unassigned fund balance, so it'll have no impact on taxpayer rates.
So if it's 50,000.
Maximum of 50. We've never hit the maximum.
We're up
rates.
to 498,000 for that culvert.
Yeah, 496, I believe.
And we put one in on Snow Road for 405.
With 250 max, yep. And one of the things we've run into is due to the supply and demand issues that were generated by COVID, prices have gone through the roof. The low bidder actually called HEB 2 weeks ago and said, can I get a check today? Because concrete and rebar are going up weekly, and they want to lock in the price on the culvert as soon as possible. So after town meeting, assuming it passes, we'll literally be signing that contract at the next meeting to be able to get a check out to lock in the contract, lock in the purchase price for the culvert, the concrete box with rebar. And we ran into it, Lawrence, with basically the CMA engineers came back with their, based on current rates from 2 years ago, here's what the thing should cost. HEB added to that when we went to bid, we figured we knew it was gonna be in the 4 to 425, not the 375. And the reality of it was, as you know, the low bidder came back at 447, I think, and the other two were like 539 and 545 or something like that. So it's the price of doing business right now. There's nothing that's going down in price. It's going up weekly. Did that cover what you were asking?
Yeah,
We just got it in last.
almost 400% increase from the last one we put in.
Well, the last one we put in was offset by a USDA grant. So there's actually, well, but so it was basically a 400,000 some odd project. It's not that much different than this one. We offset the last one by 250,000 from USDA. So by virtue of the fact that Mike went out and got the grant, it saved the town some big money. He's also found another grant opportunity for Bailey Road Bridge, which we're gonna be talking about next week. It's on my list for up to $50,000. Again, more money that could be used for that. So if we're successful in getting that grant, then we'll turn back even more money to the town.
I understand about the grant. But regardless, whether you got the grant or not, you're still paying the same amount of money. maybe it ain't coming out of the town's pocket, but you're still paying that kind of money for that little tiny 12-foot precast culvert.
Lawrence, it was a competitive bid process. You were there
Yes,
the
I
day,
was.
and you saw the group of people that were there. Out of that entire group, I believe of 6 or 7, and I think you were one of them that signed the sheet. Only 3 companies decided to basically bid on it. And the one that came closest was Dawson, right over the line there in Ossipee. The other 2 were much, much higher numbers. It's due to the cost of construction.
I know, but was there any alternative looked at for that?
It was a competitive bid process. Come back with your ideas. The 3 companies came back with their ideas. We elected to choose the low bidder.
No, I didn't mean, the contractor didn't come back with an idea and put that to change what they was putting in. They bid on what was on the plan.
When that went out for the bid spec. That's correct. Yep.
I was asking if the town inquired about any alternatives.
No, we did not, because we chose to hire an outside, independent, unbiased party to do the work for us. And that was not part of the bigger discussion.
CMA did present multiple options and why this one was preferable.
The box, the concrete box was
Right.
preferred over all the
So there
alternatives.
were options looked at, but for reasons, and they presented a couple times to the board, this was the best option.
So rather than pouring footings and pounding and doing everything else, it actually was less expensive to do box culvert than it was to do freestanding concrete with I-beams and everything else. Okay. Did you get a copy of the CMA report back when?
Did we get a copy?
CMA engineers, the original report that was done a couple of years back, year and a half back?
No.
Audrey, could you send Lawrence a copy of that, please? So that'll give you basically their entire scope of what they looked at with all of their suggestions. And they came back with 3 different possibility of designs, concrete being the preferred design because of cost. And then we had COVID hit us. Well, it's like, you know, nobody was expecting it was going to be over 400. Everybody was expecting it was going to be under 3 or under 4 rather. But construction costs are going up.
Well, not an engineer, as you pointed out, Chuck. The Snow Bridge is too low, and this bridge that they're putting in the Bailey is going to be too low here. I'm not an engineer, but I can guarantee you, come spring, we'll have a dam down on Snow. And they've got the ceiling height of the Bailey Road Bridge 2 feet above the culverts in there. The water's a foot over the culverts now. They're gonna have a foot clearance when they're done.
They're opening up, and I don't remember the percentage number. They're opening up the gallonage per minute, like 30 to 40% more than what we've got in the 2 culverts. The 2 culverts we have right now, one of them, even though we dug out quite a bit of stuff last year, one of them is still about halfway plugged. So that we're not getting full flow through that culvert anyway. So the engineering company that the CMA guys, as well as the HEB guys, have looked at the flowage that would come through there. What they bid out will cover what we need to do that. The Snow Road Bridge, as you mentioned, the bridge was properly put in at the right height. The issue we've run into is we have a very active beaver population about 75 yards below the bridge and about 300 yards below the bridge. There's a ton of new beaver huts. There's 2 major dams. And the dam that's causing the water backup right now under Snow Road Bridge is the one we're going to concentrate on with the new board to take the bulk of that dam out and come up with a plan to not have to play with it.
You have the same problem with the Bailey Road Bridge. There's beaver dams all the way down through there.
And those are actively managed by Province Lake Association, 1,500 feet. So from the lake down 1,500 feet, they've got an active contract to manage the dam heights, the beaver population, And the trapper's in there on a regular basis doing that. We just happen to use the same trapper for our stuff. So he's totally familiar with what's going on. And he just told me, and there's no way we can get in to get those dams completely destroyed without having DES problems. So we're doing manual rip apart. And we currently are going to look in the new board. Audrey's already made the contact. There's an outfit out of Vermont that actually has been doing, I'm gonna call them permanent solutions. It means you don't have to go down and dig the darn dam out every 6 months or every season. It becomes more of a permanent solution. And we've asked them to get us some information so we could take a look at that. Because I don't see it being feasible for us to basically pay a full-time trapper to try and keep that dam open. We gotta figure out a more permanent solution. And it's not easy. I said on a US wildlife 3-hour video last summer, and it was White Mountain National Forest and a whole bunch of forests in Michigan and out west in Oregon. And nobody's got the magic bullet on how to keep the waterways open without some kind of maintenance. And that's the negative. It'll be a continual maintenance thing until the beaver decide to move on.
Well, common sense tells you, you have a chance now to raise that. If you raised it, then you won't have to worry about beaver dams.
Lawrence, I got 2 engineers that have all come back and said, here's the height that this needs to be. Well, I'm not, right, I'm not the engineer, you're not the engineer. One of the reasons we rely on professionals to do it, if they screw it up, they own it. If we do it ourselves and we screw it up, it's on us. So there's a business liability shifting of risk by having the pros with the licenses do the job. I'm confident, based on what I've seen for the last 2 years with the different reports, we're good. And I'm sure we can get into the meat of what the increased flowage is gonna be and everything else by digging out the CMA reports, because they actually did that in there. We'll have more discussion, I know. Anybody else? Good,
JK, did you want to speak?
I'm good. Good. Lenny, anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right, folks, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor, full aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good week.
Yes.